In an old dusty shop, a collector's eye catches the sight of a vintage doll. Now, this isn't just any collector. This is a man whose home is a labyrinth of artifacts, each with their own unique tale. His fascination, you see, is not with the items themselves, but with the stories they hold, the lives they've touched, the epics they've seen. On this particular day, our collector named Mr. Gray finds himself in a quaint little shop tucked away in a forgotten corner of the city. Amidst the clutter of antiquities, one item stands out: a doll. Not just any doll, but a vintage piece that would make any collector's heart flutter. It's a beautiful specimen with porcelain skin, glossy hair, and glassy eyes that seem almost alive. The shop owner, an old man with a face as weathered as the items he sells, watches Mr. Gray with a wary eye. He tells Mr. Gray about the doll's history, a tale steeped in mystery and whispers of the occult. The doll, he says, has been rumored to be cursed. "It's just a rumor, mind you," he quickly adds, "but I thought you should know." Mr. Gray, ever the thrill-seeker, is intrigued rather than deterred. The thought of owning an item with such a chilling backstory is too enticing to resist. Despite the shopkeeper's warnings, he buys the doll. What's the worst that could happen, he thinks to himself, a smirk playing on his lips as he hands over the money. He carries the doll home, carefully wrapped in a cloth as if it were a precious artifact. As he places it on a pedestal in his collection room, he can't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. Another unique piece added to his collection, another story to tell. But as the sun sets and shadows creep into the room, a chill fills the air. The doll, once a symbol of vintage beauty, now seems to take on a more sinister aura. The glassy eyes seem to follow Mr. Gray as he leaves the room, the smirk on its lips seeming more pronounced. Little did he know, he was bringing home more than just a doll. After all, every story has a beginning, and this, my friends, is where ours starts. Soon after the doll's arrival, peculiar things start happening around the house. Imagine this, folks. You're sitting in your favorite armchair, engrossed in the latest bestseller. Suddenly, you hear a soft thud. You look around, and there it is, your grandmother's porcelain vase. Once perched on the mantelpiece, now lying on the carpet, shattered. You scratch your head, thinking it must be a draft. But then, it happens again. And again. Objects start to move on their own, as if some invisible force is playing a twisted game of chess in your house. You'd think it's just the wind, but the windows are all closed. You'd think it's an earthquake, but the ground is as steady as ever. And then, the whispers start. Soft, ethereal whispers that seem to float in from nowhere and everywhere. They creep into your dreams, turning them into nightmares. They fill your days with an eerie sense of dread. But when you strain your ears to listen, they fade away like the last notes of a ghostly lullaby. Now let's talk about the doll. The vintage beauty with the porcelain skin and the glassy eyes. You swear you left it on the coffee table, but now it's perched on your bed, staring at you with its unblinking eyes. You feel a shiver run down your spine, but you shake off the feeling, blaming it on your overactive imagination. But the doll doesn't stop there. It seems to have a mind of its own, changing positions when you're not looking, popping up in places you'd never expect. Like a sinister shadow, it follows you around, its glassy eyes seeming to see right through you. The collector, a rational man till now, starts to feel uneasy, but he's a skeptic, always has been. He dismisses these incidents as figments of his imagination, the price he's paying for spending too much time alone with his collectibles. But as the days passed, the incidents grew more frequent, more chilling. The collector, once a skeptic, now finds himself questioning his disbelief. Is the doll just a doll, or is it something more malevolent? Desperate for answers, the collector delves into the doll's past. It was time to uncover the story behind those glassy eyes and stitched smile. The doll, it turns out, wasn't just an ordinary plaything. A century ago, it was the prized possession of a notorious spiritualist, a woman feared and respected in equal measure. Her name was Seraphina, a name that whispered of angels but hinted at demons. A master of the occult, she was said to have trapped a malevolent spirit within the doll. The spirit, once a force of chaos and destruction, was now bound to the porcelain figure, its power curtailed, but not extinguished. The doll became a vessel for this spirit, a silent observer in a world it could no longer disrupt as it pleased. But, oh, how it tried. Each new owner of the doll experienced strange happenings, eerie whispers in the night, objects mysteriously moving, and a creeping sense of unease that never seemed to lift. The spirit within the doll was not content to be a passive observer. It sought to make its presence known, to incite fear, to remind the world of its power, however limited. The collector discovered tales of those who had previously owned the doll. Their stories were chilling, filled with inexplicable phenomena and, in some cases, even untimely deaths. A cloud of misfortune seemed to hover over anyone who came into possession of the doll. It was as if the spirit within was not content merely to observe. It wanted to play. One tale in particular stood out. A previous owner, a wealthy industrialist, had been found dead in his study, the doll clutched tightly in his cold, lifeless hands. The coroner's report was inconclusive, but the family insisted he was scared to death. The doll, they claimed, was the cause. The collector felt a chill run down his spine. This was no ordinary doll. It was a prison for a malevolent spirit, a beacon of misfortune, a cursed artifact. And now, the curse had passed on to him. With fear gripping his heart, the collector decides to fight the curse. Our protagonist, now more of a prisoner in his own home, stands at the precipice of his sanity. It's time to take action. He begins his battle by seeking the assistance of a paranormal expert. A woman of age, wisdom, and a knack for the supernatural, she steps into the eerie atmosphere of the collector's home, her eyes immediately drawn to the doll. She tries to cleanse the house, her chants echoing through the rooms, attempting to combat the sinister energy. But the doll, that cursed doll, it just sits there untouched, unbothered, its eyes reflecting a malevolent spirit that seems to scoff at their efforts. Undeterred, the collector then decides to take a more drastic measure. He attempts to destroy the doll, to wipe out the physical embodiment of the curse. He tries to burn it, but the doll doesn't catch fire. He tries to shred it, but the machine jams. He even tries to bury it, but the next morning, the doll is back on his doorstep, unscathed and smirking. The doll, it seems, is indestructible. It's as if every attempt to destroy it only feeds its power, its hold over the collector's life growing stronger, its presence more pervasive. It's a chilling realization, the kind that sends shivers down the spine and leaves a cold dread in the pit of one's stomach. But our collector, he's not one to back down. He's caught in a terrifying dance with the unknown, caught in a battle he never expected. Every night is a test of his courage, every day a test of his resolve. And though he's weary, he's not defeated. Not yet. He's got a fire in his eyes, a determination that says he won't be beaten by a doll. A cursed doll, yes, but a doll nonetheless. His fight was far from over. In a final standoff, the collector confronts the doll's wicked spirit. The air crackles with the tension of 1,000 thunderstorms, and the room feels as if it's alive with anticipation. The collector, a man who once sought only to admire the beauty of antiquity, now stands as a warrior against a malevolent force beyond understanding. He weaves an intricate web of ancient rituals and incantations, each word a lifeline to his desperate hope of overcoming the sinister entity. His voice, once meek and mild, now echoes with a resonating power that fills the room, challenging the pervasive darkness with a beacon of unwavering determination. He is not just a collector anymore. He is a protector, a barrier between the world and the wicked spirit. The doll, once a silent observer, now trembles under the weight of the collector's resolve. The spirit within writhes in defiance, its malevolent energy lashing out in a futile attempt to break free. But the collector is unyielding, his will stronger than the chains of the curse. With a final resounding incantation, he manages to trap the spirit back inside the doll, locking it away in a prison of porcelain and ancient magic. The room grows quiet, the tension dissipating like mist under a morning sun. The collector had won, but at a cost. The doll, now a silent sentinel of a battle hard won, remains a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks in the corners of our world. Life returns to normal, but the collector is forever changed. In the aftermath of the cursed doll, our collector finds himself a different man. His passion for collection continues, albeit with a newfound caution. Every antique now carries a whisper of the past, a chilling echo of his encounter with the malevolent spirit. He's learned that every object has a story, and some stories are better left untold. And thus, the cursed doll remains locked away, its malevolent spirit waiting for the next unsuspecting victim. Thanks for watching. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more spooky, scary, and interesting contents.